Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your boy, Libertarian Election Predictions, back at it again with another video. So today's video, we will be focusing on the 2008 presidential election. So, you guys may, what's the deal? Barack Obama handily won it. Well, that's not what we're talking about, or that's not what we're even exploring. So today, I will explore what if the Democrats were in power in the 2008 election. How would it turn out? I know a lot of you guys would say it would be a lot more different. So we'll see. So let's assume that now. Let's say in 2000. I'm not trying to say that the 2000 election results were fraudulent. So please, guys, don't think that I'm being trying to say that the 2000 elections were fraud. But let's say hypothetically that Al Gore did manage to defeat Bush and by narrowly winning the state of Florida, and then won re-election in 2004. So now that is 8 years of Gore, and now we obviously know what happened in 2008. The recession became full scale, right? So in this today, we will examine what if Al Gore was president in 2008. How would the dynamics of the 2008 election have changed? Do you think Obama will continue and the Gore's legacy, or will the country elect a new president? I think most of you guys know the answer, but since this is a very intriguing one, as a lot of people saw John McCain as a boring candidate, but in this election, we'll see how John McCain does. All right, let's now go from west to east. So let's start off with the state of Washington. I'd rate that maybe as likely Democrat. I think it would be a lot closer considering that the country would be tired after 16 years of a Democratic administration. So I'd say Washington would probably stay Democrat, but just be narrower. Same thing with Oregon. I think Oregon would be closer. Like I think it would be like 8 points, 7 points for Democrats, but I still think it's a relatively easy win for Obama here. California, same deal. It's safe. And like California is not like a 30-point Democrat state in 2008, but it was still a safe margin for the Democratic Party. So that looking at Alaska, that's probably going to be safe Republican. I think McCain would have performed a lot better in Alaska, as now the headwinds are against the Democrats. Arizona, I think he would have done much better in rather than winning by 8.5. He would probably blow Obama out of the water in terms, like I would say 12, 13 points. He'd probably take Arizona if the 2008 election, if Al Gore was in power in 2008. Sorry guys, I'm stammering. So Utah probably safe. A lot of these like Mountain West, but instead Montana would probably be safe considering that now the political headwinds are against the Democrats now that they are in power. Colorado is an interesting one because Bush won it in 2004 and then went 9 points in favor of Barack Obama. You're talking about like a almost close to like 15 point swing to the left. But again, I still think Obama would have. It would be really difficult to tell whether Obama would have held on, or lose Colorado to McCain. But I'd say in this case, I would say McCain probably takes it really narrowly, considering that Colorado was trending to the left in from the Bush era onwards, but now the roles have reversed, and now it's the Gore. So and with a recession, I would say McCain would probably do relatively well in the state, probably winning by just 1 point, though. Not like Bush's 4 points. I think he'd win Colorado by 1 point. Nevada would be interesting, but I'd say Nevada would probably back McCain over Obama, because remember now that the political headwinds are against the Democrats, because as I said multiple times, now that Gore is in power and the recession happened, and now voters obviously would want a new direction. So whoever predicted that the country would go into a new direction, you're kind of right now. New Mexico is interesting because in 2000 it was super close. Then 2004, not super close, but I think in 2008, I would say Barack Obama would narrowly hold on to it, considering New Mexico is typically a Democratic state, although it has voted Republican in the past. Moving on to the state of Hawaii. Hawaii would be safe no matter what. But I think much of this Mountain West, these Great Plains, would all be safe Republican, without a doubt. Maybe Nebraska's second would be likely, as it's a suburban district, and we all know Republicans were dominant in suburbs in 2008. It was really after the Trump era Republicans started to lose their grip on the more wealthy suburbs. Well, there are still a lot of conservative suburbs out there, and Arkansas, Louisiana, a lot of these states are safe. For one, they don't like people like they don't like Obama, and also you're and having anti-democratic sentiment too, particularly after being under Democratic administrations for 16 years. So that might be older than some people's entire life. So it's obviously fair, and a lot of these states will probably be safe Republicans. So and it's funny how in 2008 Texas was a safe Republican state. Although I don't see that out of contention, like particularly if Biden's approval was like in the 20s, I won't say that's out of contention. But really, when even when Barack Obama had a solid approval rating, Texas was still like a 15-point Republican state. And then Kentucky and probably West Virginia would have all been safe Republican. Indiana would have been safe Republican too. So yeah. And then so now let's move on to the upper Midwest here. So Missouri would have probably been a much like larger margin of victory for McCain. I would say McCain winning it by a hair in 2008 was because of the political trends and like how unpopular the Republican Party was back then. But now, when your roles are reversed, I'd say McCain. Actually, I'd give McCain safe to him in Missouri. I'd say he does much better, particularly with the trends. Iowa would be interesting because Iowa was not really a Republican state like it was today. Like Iowa in 2008 was relatively Democratic considering it was a rural state. But it would be hard. But I would say Iowa would probably narrowly flip in favor of McCain as again, like not like Obama was a terrible fit for the state of Iowa for a state like Iowa, but the thing is now you've got anti-democratic sentiment. But its northern neighbors, Minnesota, I would probably give it as lean Democratic because Minnesota is typically a Democratic state and it does lean more Democratic though. The Rust Belt was interesting as Rust Belt's always been competitive, but it was more safer for Democrats like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. We're like Michigan and Pennsylvania were like Democratic leaning swing states, whereas Wisconsin, all three were Democratic leaning swing states. So and plus the working class was not really did not flock to Republicans at the rate the rate they're doing now. So I'd say Wisconsin he takes by tilt margin because Wisconsin was more of a Democratic state back then. And Obama it would probably appeal to a lot of these blue collar voters. I do rate Michigan as lean Democratic. I think Michigan would not be 16 points. I think it would be like maybe 2 to 3 points, same amount Biden won by in 2020. And I'll probably give Pennsylvania as lean Democratic, as I think Pennsylvania would probably back Obama though. Obama, as Pennsylvania was more Democratic, and at least in the sense that the rural areas weren't like 80 to 90% Republican. They were more like 60 to 70%, which made it easier for Democrats to compete in the state. But in the state of Ohio, I'd say McCain takes Ohio. Ohio is like a political bellwether, and I do not see McCain losing Ohio in this case. Like when you got a lot of anti-democratic sentiment after during with the recession, it's really easy to say Ohio will probably go, but Ohio wasn't like solid Republican. Like the rural areas were not solid Republican. Excuse me. So like the Republicans have had a grip on Ohio, like the rural areas, but like the working class areas in Northeast Ohio were overwhelmingly Democrats. So, but again, I think there's still enough of the rural vote to outvote the northeastern part of the state. So Ohio will go to McCain, but like 4 to 5 points because of the because of how close Ohio was 14 years ago. But I'd say Illinois, Obama would probably still get that nice solid margin. It's his home state, so he gets the benefit of the doubt. But going now, let's work our way. Let's work ourselves this way. So New York will be safe Democrat. I just cannot see that getting narrower. It will be narrower, but nothing point, nowhere will it be danger for Obama. Vermont is safe Democrat. It was like prior to like the Clinton era and Bill Clinton era, it was actually Republican, but now it's a solid Democratic state. New Hampshire. This would be interesting as New Hampshire went to Barack Obama by 10 points and he carried every single county. But again, when you're in a wave year like in 2008, if the Democrats are in power, it would have been a more of a Republican wave year. So I'd say New Hampshire would probably tilt in favor of McCain as McCain was a suburban candidate. McCain would have probably done well with a lot of educated voters, and in New Hampshire, that is a big voting demographic. But I think Barack Obama would still carry Maine and Maine's first district. But Maine's second will be interesting because Maine's second was actually a Democratic district, so I'd say he probably gets it by tilt margin though. Again, Massachusetts and Rhode Island, they're all safe, but I think Connecticut would have narrowed up a little bit. And same with New Jersey. I think New Jersey would have narrowed up too. I think maybe 6.5 to 7.5 points because the Democrats would be unpopular. And then Delaware, Maryland, these are all going to be safe then. But you'll see a lot of the big flips in the South. Like I think Virginia would have been likely Republican, as Virginia was like the suburbs were like still largely conservative at the time. Although I think when Kerry flipped it in 2004, that should have been a warning sign for the GOP. But again, I think Virginia was still more of a conservative state back then. North Carolina, I'd say North Carolina is also likely Republican. And I'd say Georgia was also likely Republican, and then Florida as lean Republican, and DC of course as safe Democrat. And much of these are self-explanatory. Georgia won. John McCain won Georgia by 5.2%, even though he was defeated terribly nationally. So, in an environment in his favor, Georgia would actually be even more solid. But I don't think he still has that Bush level appeal to get those conservative voters in like the rural areas. And Florida would have flipped because of environment and it's competitive. And guys, so this is my prediction. I think McCain narrowly beats out Obama 285, 253, but it's still getting close because I think Obama was a good candidate and McCain was not like a very great candidate. But what really pulled him over the finish line was winning a lot of these competitive states. Hold on, guys. I'm really sorry about the phone. Hold on, guys. Let me take a call. Sorry, guys. My father called. He went out, and my mom just went. I don't know where she went. So, and I'm not even informed of it. So, I'm kind of worried about where she went. But that's irrelevant. So, I think McCain would have narrowly edged it out against Obama, as he's not a good candidate by any means. He's not like an exciting conservative. But I'd say the national environment, the mood of the mood of the party mood of the voters would help him over the finish line. So sorry, guys, I had that interruption. It was totally unplanned. I did not know my father was gonna call, so sorry, guys. I'll try to next video. I'll try to make sure there are no interruptions. Anyway, guys, that is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please put a like, put a thumbs up, and comment down if you disagree. Comment down what you guys think. If you guys disagree with it, you can put that thumbs down and let me know why you disagree with it. I would like to hear why. Do you think McCain? Do you think I underestimated McCain, or do you think Obama would have won the election? Well, that's up for you guys. So, and I can't believe, guys, this was 14 years ago. When you have states like Ohio, was like a very close, and I mean, quite literally close. It near pretty much matched the national average. So yeah, I can't believe things have changed so much in like the last 14, 15 years. And you guys, I hope to see you guys again. Hopefully tomorrow. Maybe I can upload again tomorrow. And you guys, and Libertarian election predictions out.